Hello, I'm Ben Henderman and this is my Unity project, which is a top-down racing game. And this is my UI menu screen, and I use this, and to create this I used a YouTube tutorial called Brackley's, and they're a very good YouTube tutorial channel, and they really explain how to do things step by step, so that's why I went with this, and it's just very easy to follow. So I've got three menu options here. So play it will play the game, but I'm not going to do that in a minute, as I want to show you these other options first. Options, so when you click on the options, you have an options menu obviously, and a volume bar which you can slide up and down. It's not fully working, only the slider's working in a minute, but as I wish to carry on with this project after the video, I'd like to add sound, so adding this will be very good to have the sound, so I can turn it up and down. And the back button puts you back obviously, and the quit button here, when you click quit, at the bottom left hand side a little message will come up, a little debug message saying quit, which will just let you know that the button does work, but I haven't made it work on this particular occasion, so to put a little message to say that it has worked. Now we can proceed on to my game. Here's my tutorial level, so it's the first level tutorial, and it's like a test track level, like how Formula 1 cars and F1 drivers and race drivers will test their cars, and I use this creating Photoshop. The car movement, so to move backwards and forwards, or to move forwards in this case, you'll press the gas button at the bottom, which is this button, but it's not currently working at the minute, which I'll explain in a minute. Same as the left and right button to move left and right. So the script that I got from YouTube to allow the car to move forward, it was a particular sort of movement I wanted, so I didn't really want the car to drift around or slide. I wanted it to be very smooth, like an F1 driver would. So this YouTube tutorial I got was very, very particular, and it was very, very useful. And it was very useful to me because it was exactly how I wanted it. But for some reason, whenever the car went left or right, like how it is now perfectly, it would just be in a weird position to rotate on its own when you stop, or not when you stop, but when you're driving, it'll just go left and right really weirdly in like a strange darting position, so that wasn't what I really wanted. So, and as I come onto the UI platform buttons, I looked at several videos on how to do it. The first one wasn't very clear, it was just very picturesque and showing you what they've done, and it didn't really explain how to do it. So the last video that I looked at was very clear, taking you step by step and explaining what each thing done. So the left and right button I had to use as a UI cross-platform button, and for the gas button I had to have a button handler, and then when I press play, at the bottom as you can see where it says you need Android to make the car move, so I haven't got Android Studio at the minute, so just to move the car at the minute I'm using backwards and forwards and left and right. As you can see when I'm doing that now, gas button and the left and right button are highlighting. And now for the next part is the oil spillages. So when you collide with an oil spillage, it swishes you in a different direction. So what this is basically is a polygon collider, which I've then added a 2D effect script to it, so when you collide with it, it pushes you in the opposite direction, but when the car is moving towards it and going straight through it, it's making it look like it's just slowing it down when it's trying to push it back, but the car movement is actually trying to get through. So when you go through it, it is basically just slowing you down. So that's what I did for that, and it's the same with the grass. So when you go onto the grass, as I'll show you, it slows you down. And then the cones, so when you go onto the cones, it just stops you dead. So before I used a box collider, but in this case I'm using a edge collider. The reason why I did that is because the box collider, when you collide with it and stood still, just starts rotating slightly on its own, which I find very weird. So I used the line collider, and then when it collided, obviously it had solved the problem. So that's the tutorial level. And if I go into my top down racing, yep. So this is my main level as it loads up, and it's basically the same as the tutorial level, but instead of, it's like a proper qualifying session as you will in Formula 1. So I would normally have a time counter to it, but I hadn't got around to it, cause when you cross the finish line and start finish line at the beginning on this straight that's coming up, the lap time will count, and then when you cross over it again, it will actually say if you've gone faster, because if you're not fast enough it would have reset the level and it would have put you back onto this level again. And if you've gone faster than the time, or just about, or however, it would put you onto the next level which I hadn't created yet. And the reason why I hadn't created all these things I would have, because I pretty much time management, and I've just been trying to complete this car movement, as this got most of my time, but I think time management is a big key. So oil spillages work as well, so I'll show you, and the grass as well works fine. So when you go over the spill, it slows you down, and the next part as well. Also another part of my game that I wanted to add was UI, or AI, sorry. And what was that basically is other cars on tracks doing their qualifying times. So as you pass them, you get an extra boost. But I found this was going to take too much time, as the UI would have been point communication, so point to point movement. So when you set a waypoint for them, it kind of goes to the next point of the line, but it would have been very jumpy, and to solve that it would have been trying to put loads of set waypoints everywhere, and that would have took too much time. So that was a main problem I didn't want to figure out, or not want to waste time with. But most of my time it was just trying to figure out how to make the car move. Thank you for watching, and that's my game. Thank you.